Apes together here, I guess. I'm here, I guess. Anyway, hey everybody, what's up? This is a long overdue retro editorial of my overall thoughts of the Planet of the Apes Matt Reeves trilogy. So, ground rules first. The reason why this is a generalized review of all three films is that there's a strong chance I probably did a double review of either Dawn or War back in the day. So, if so, I'll leave not IMDb, cast IMDb's for all three movies down below as usual in case I got the actor wrong. It's been almost almost over 10 plus years since I've seen these movies. And I also want to give a big thank you. Previous video on these reviews here in case I did one in the double review years of the channel. Yeah, 2017 on was kind of 2017 on, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, another reason why I am doing the Matt Reeves trilogy is because, like I said in the shorts, I think last week, or I think in the community tab earlier this week either, or is that it was either going to be this or Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. And not having to do a long 20 plus minute discussion about Charlton Heston being the originator of the cold dead hands stupid NRA fucking speeches. Thank you very much for that to my audience, if anything else. One day I'll name you guys, but right now I'll just call you Ordinary Retro Writers because that is awesome. So yeah, without having to talk about all of that baggage out of the way, there have been people who already did that review, namely Kind of Funny's in review, and mostly nitpicking. So I'll leave all those reviews down below if you still want to know what Tim Burton was like trying to be a hit maker after the 80s and 90s and the warning signs to the rest of Tim Burton's career. Speaking of him, I might do a Beetlejuice 2 review and watch the original movie. Hopefully earlier this year. I mean, later this year. Wow. Can you tell I just woke up? Sorry again for reminding that. Anyway, with all the ground rules out of the way, let's get to my overall thoughts with Rise Through War of the Planet of the Apes. Well, the common misconception I've heard so far, I think even Kind of Funny's in review for the Reeves trilogy, is that he didn't do the first one, but did the next two after. And long story short, I'm a very big fan of Reeves' work since not only this trilogy, but obviously the Batman going forward. Go to my review for that when it was new at the time with Matt Reeves' Batman. So what's there to say about Andy Serkis's Caesar that hasn't already said by pretty much everyone throughout the last couple of years at this point? It is the best interpretation of just how in real time the apes can basically take over and then still try to humanize what little human, not resistance, but like communities in the area. Basically what Caesar is trying to do in Dawn to pretty much not having it by the time we get to War. But how do we get to what is pretty last decade kind of basic? Again, the main reason why they did a full refresh back in the 2010s is mainly because of Tim Burton's movie. So again, go to those reviews, like I said, down below for why they had to refresh it. So after said refresh, it was totally worth it. Especially in Rise's case, you kind of see in real time that Caesar was always going to be a little different from the apes around him. The third act in that has been the most talked about, more so than the movie itself. Also, for Stargate Atlantis fans, yes, I remember that, Rodney, and yes, kicked off what would end up becoming Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So, yeah, this is kind of where a guy and you, everyone here at home who had to put up with an actual worldwide pandemic, is probably a little taken aback when that was almost the entire point of, like, the half-apocalypse that was kind of happening in between these movies leading up to Kingdom. Yeah, that's basically what happened. So, for the layman who doesn't know the original Apes franchise, much like myself, long story short, humans eventually just get muted over time and just become lesser and just act like basically the Uno reverse of the apes, essentially, if you know the old series like that. Full disclosure, I have not watched the 60s series other than parodies over the years of the 2000s. I think Jane Silent Bob Strike Back might have done a Planet of the Apes reference. And also, going back into Dawn, I had no clue not only the director, Matt Reeves, was very familiar of Judy Greer's game as an actress, but so much so that she was basically the love interest for Caesar going forward throughout this franchise. Yes, Judy Greer was mocapped throughout these last two movies, and I had no clue. So, good on you, Judy Greer, as usual, for surprising me even to this day. So much so, I had a little bit of spittle. My bad in advance, in case you guys saw that. Wipes aside, Going on to war, you can tell it's the climax of the trilogy. You can definitely tell that Woody Harrelson was overly compensating, I guess, from Gary Oldman's human threat from the last movie, and very much worth it in the long run. He's more personable. He has a lot of backstory through basically body language that you can kind of understand. Like, yeah, he's a general. Yeah, he had to go through some stuff in this weird ass apocalypse and wage war with talking apes at this point, but he was also a guy who went through some shit. And yeah, how he ended, I won't leave for spoilers, context reasons. It's a lot more personal than you think. As for Caesar, he's basically it. Just got taken by the back foot throughout the most of this conflict. So, I think in real time wise, it's supposed to take like 10 to 15 years total. I know in Kingdom, and I think for next week's review, is taking place centuries after Caesar. So, the big twist from the original franchise was that basically humanity screwed themselves over. That's why the apes rose and stuff like that. I don't know if that twist is going to be preserved, mainly because throughout the Matt Reeves trilogy, you kind of saw in real time that, yeah, we did do this to ourselves, but at the same time, you kind of root for Caesar, you kind of root for his tribe, you kind of root for them basically surviving what's next for them going forward. So now knowing that going into Kingdom that you're basically seeing everything Caesar accomplished come to pass, and maybe people trying to like in his community and like tribes over the years, or in this case centuries, going into Kingdom, kind of misconstrued and misremembered how Caesar basically made them live to that point in the franchise. Sorry, at that point in the timeline. So I don't know have a complete viewing of Kingdom, in case you could tell. So no cast IMDb down below. However, I will leave the trailer down because actually it's a lot cooler than you think. I'll also leave Chris Stuckman's early review of it. I think he got a screener of anything, or probably got I guess went past embargoes or whatever. So me being groggy aside and definitely needing coffee. Sorry for the quick catch-all for these movies, but that's kind of how I want to leave it, is like it's not spoiler for Roll 3, mainly because I want you to see it now that it's on Disney Plus through I think their Hulu hybridization that we're trying to do for both streaming services. They beta tested it I think earlier this year, so that's why you're seeing like DC stuff on Disney Plus. If you have the adult account, long story short, there. Still not paid by Disney. Still not paid by Disney Plus. I'm just telling you how I was viewing these movies when I was researching for this editorial. So with that all being said, if I had to do a rating for Rise, because I think it's the only one out of the two I never really got around to watching, 8 out of 10, mainly because of the how much it held up as time went on. James Franco aside, yes, I'm very much aware of what he became later in life. Google that yourself. Screw him just in case. And for Matt Reeves' duology to close out this trilogy, if I remembered my war, I would say 7.5, I think was at the time. Now I'm going to go for a strong 8. Mainly because Woody Harrelson's performance has grown on me as time went on, so that could be the case there. If I didn't review it, 9 out of 10 for the whole trilogy. That being said, what did you think of this very rushed review? I have to basically make sure my block isn't paved to death. It's that kind of week. Ooh. 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 Holding a sneeze aside, that's probably bad. Let's get to the end cards right here. Totally not gonna sneeze over here to my shorts playlist for Critical Role episode 93. I'm gonna have to probably do a full video for 94. Good news happened. That's mainly why basic episode, but there was more news stuff that I'll have to talk about of CR as a whole. That'll be next week's content. Shirt here to sub the channel, the notification bell down below. Yeah, previous video here as well. And for the human characters other than Woody Harrelson, I forgot from Rise, going into Dawn was actually cool and stuff like that. Rotating cast and stuff like that. And rambling aside, yeah, you can tell I already woke up. This is Retro Gamer Recruiter saying, so Caesar's like the GOAT, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Also, wow, the mocap has definitely evolved as the time went on. Surprisingly, the one series that needed CG was mainly because of Tim Burton. That's one of the weird positives, right?